podcasted. Oh my God, Ruchi, I'm more prepared. I use ChatGPT for this. Okay.
Hello, fellow yappers. I'm Ruchi.
And I'm Shalini, and we're your hosts of Binge Yap Repeat.
We're two best friends who spend an embarrassing amount of time binge watching TV, and honestly, we just need to talk about it. If you're here, we're guessing you do too.
Fair warning, this is a spoiler-friendly zone. We will be discussing lots of spoilers. So, if you haven't watched the show yet, hit pause, go binge, and come back when you're ready to yap with us.
And now, it's yap time. Hello, yappers. Welcome to a special guest episode of Binge Yap Repeat, starring our friend Jing. Hello, Jing.
안녕하세요.
Oh my god.
제 이름은 징입니다. 팟캐스트 초대해 주세요. 감사합니다. That's it.
안녕하세요, Jing. Jing is not Korean, you guys.
I'm
so
sorry for butchering that.
come for her in the comments.
Yeah.
Welcome, Jing. Wow, thank you for preparing that.
I'm honored to be the first guest.
So if you haven't guessed from the Korean, today we are going to talk about Devil's Plan Season 2, The Death Room. I've been talking about this a bunch in our Binge in Progress segment where I've been just like fangirling about Devil's Plan. And so it was definitely going to be the case that Shalini would never watch it. I think that much was clear. So I killed her and replaced her with Jing.
I'm the devil. This is our plan.
No, I'm the devil in this one. No, but anyway, basically I finished the season and I really wanted to discuss it with someone, but Shalini was not going to watch it. But Jing and I were talking about it, so just decided to do a special guest episode. So welcome, Jing. Yay!
Thanks for having me.
I guess we can
Diversifying
just...
the content.
Content is king.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just do a quick little recap. Devil's Plan is a Korean reality game show. If you're familiar with Korean reality game shows, think Physical 100, but more of a mental competition. The premise is that contestants face off in games of wit and strategy, striving to be crowned winner and go home with the ultimate prize, cash money. So like we said before, this is season 2, and I would say this was quite different from season 1 in a bad way, to be honest. But before we get into that, Jing, what are your overall thoughts of the season?
I still like the season a lot. And I felt that the games were, I think they maybe like over engineered a little bit too much from season 1. And then, but also did not anticipate like how much the contestants had watched season 1 and how better prepared they were for it. So I'm hopeful that in season 3 they'll have a better mix of things again, but I still enjoyed a lot of the games. I think it was a lot more political this season, which was a little disappointing, but I do have a new favorite Korean celebrity from the show. Lee Tae-dong.
Lee Tae-dong. Dude, he was great. I didn't understand why all of the contestants were just like, we need to take him down immediately.
I think they were really intimidated by him. But do you remember like that first prison match game where he was like, oh, I want Harin to move on, so I'm going to try to do this favor. So I'm going to bet the same as Chu so that we'll both cancel each other out. And then Chu was like, just like didn't do it.
I remember that, but it felt like people, like other contestants, were making the same strategic moves that Lee Sedol was making. From my vantage point, I didn't really see him as being a huge threat. I mean, I think we had kind of talked about this before. When it came to a 1-to-1 matchup in the end, did you really want to go against Lee Se-dol? And I guess the answer would be no. But I feel like you could say that for a lot of other people too. Like Hyung-Yoo, for instance, he was an uncontested threat from the beginning. And you could argue that you would also not want to go up against him one-on-one, right?
Maybe there's also some Korean culture involved because like Lee Se-dol is one of the older cast members. And I think respect is such a big thing in Korean culture. That's like a factor behind the scenes.
Maybe, but actually, you touched on something important, which is actually, I think I read this on Reddit, and I forget who the username was, so I'm sorry, I'll look that up later. But there was someone on Reddit who had posted about this and who was saying that the contestants all had some form of popularity, like they were all influencers or actresses or well-known names in some way or another, and you can almost tell that the contestants who were celebrities who needed to be well liked didn't take any backstabbing risks or make any of those strategic moves compared to the other people who came in from a public forum. Like Harin, for example, Hyung-Yoo, Lee Se-dol, they all made these kind of backstabbing moves that the others did not do. Do you think that was part of Korean culture, trying to be well liked?
Well, Hyung-Yoo is an influencer. Well, I mean, he's like a model. And I looked at his Instagram and it seems like he's also acting now. So good for him.
Oh.
Yeah. But I also saw that on Reddit that Hyunjun and Sohee especially were really trying very hard to preserve their image. And I do think there probably is an aspect to that just because Korean netizens can be really harsh. I also felt like Seven High's performance. I think a lot of Korean watchers really thought he was being way too aggressive, which for Korea, I totally agree. But I was like, this guy's just playing like an American, basically.
Yeah, but I would say that Seven High's career is not really about being well liked. Actually, playing aggressive in Devil's Plan would probably help him long term in his career because if you played a poker game against Seven High, I'd be like, I'm scared. like depending on how he played on Devil's Plan, I'd be like, oh shit, I don't want to do this.
He would go all in against me, and then I would fold. I'd be like, I can't handle this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, he would read me like a book.
Well, okay, but let's go back to Hyunjun and Sohee, who like try to maintain their image, but they're the ones who won, basically, too, though.
Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about Sohee.
Oh yeah, Sohee, yeah, versus Hyunggu in the final match.
Yeah, so it basically came down to the wire where Sohee was 100% confident that she knew where she went wrong and she knew exactly what numbers Hyung-Yoo had. Hyung-Yoo had a 50-50 shot of getting Sohee's numbers right. And they kind of were in this stalemate where they kept putting in all of their chips, and they kept matching. And then Sohee was like, you know what? I will let fate decide if I win. And I'm like, bitch, like, what are you doing? You have 100% shot of getting this right. Just keep betting, keep going all in. Why are you yielding to this guy who was a 50-50 shot? I was really upset at her. I felt it was also like against the spirit of Devil's Plan.
Yeah. I think she waited too long. If that was her strategy, she should have just stopped betting immediately because I think the longer she kept betting, the more time it gave him, it seemed like, to like kind of recalculate things. And so then she kind of just ended up in this middle point where she just picked literally the worst outcome and then lost.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking about that too. Like, oh, maybe the longer that she keeps betting him and matching him, the longer he's taking to calculate. But then if you think that way, then why would you yield? Like, you just have to keep going. But then I thought, what would happen if they just kept putting in 2 chips for an hour? What would happen?
I feel like they probably would have edited it in such a way where maybe the stalemate we would have never known about, and then they would have figured out a different solution. Actually, so did you watch Okay, I read this on Reddit too a long time ago, but the first season of Physical 100, do you remember?
Yeah.
It was like the two guys pulling rope. That was like the final challenge, right?
Yeah.
And so apparently they filmed that challenge 4 times. And it was only the last time that the snowboarding guy won.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you think they would have had to play that card game multiple times then?
Yeah, maybe they would have had to do it again,
Oh
which would
man.
have sucked.
I do remember that rope pulling match. It looked so grueling. I think I even remembered at the time, I'm like, how long has this been going on? It feels like hours.
Mm-hmm.
Woof. Okay, well, so we know that Sohee and Hyung-Yoo were in an alliance along with Kyuhyun, the Super Junior guy, and Singles Inferno host for a while. But what did you think about the alliances in this season in general? Because I think in season one, there was a lot more individualism. Like, people didn't straight up form alliances like crazy. I think I was shocked to see in the initial game, it was like, hey, we're going to be in an alliance. And then they played to those alliances for no reason, it felt. I was like, that's so weird. Like, they were in an alliance with Seven High just because Seven High was like, let's play together. And they're like, okay.
Okay, first off, I did love the editing in the last episode where Tina was like, "Oh, I think Sohee's gonna win. I've never seen her play emotionally. She always stays so calm." And then they cut to like all the scenes where she's like,
Sobbing.
"Yeah,
Yeah, they did her dirty.
we did." And then they did one where someone in the beginning interview was like, "Yeah, I'm probably not gonna keep these alliances. I'm gonna move around with what's advantageous." And then they like stuck with the same alliance the whole time.
Yeah. But to be honest, a lot of that was the game design. Once you were in prison, it was so hard to get out because of the way that the games were designed. You were always just limited by the number of pieces you had, and therefore the number of pieces that you could potentially gain. If you were at the bottom, it was so hard to move up, and that's why Hyun Jun was the only guy who moved out of the prison room, because he was the only one who did the hidden game.
Yeah, I agree. Like the structure made it feel a lot more classist, and it felt too classist. Like there were just so many disadvantages to being in prison. Like you didn't have good food, your appearance, whatever. If I didn't have coffee on this game show, I would be out. I could not play at all.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was nice that people in the living room always gave the prisoners coffee when they came in for the main match. I thought that was really
That was
nice.
really cute.
But yeah, I just think that there should have been more opportunities for the prison people to get to the living room quarters, especially if it was always living room versus prison. If that was always the alliance, then yeah, you're gonna have pretty solid lines in the ground when it comes to the main match because people are just gonna divvy up their alliances that way.
Yeah, it definitely was way less dynamic in season two compared to season one, where there was just a lot less intermingling, I would say, of the players.
I wish they had at least switched the hidden game matches so that the prisoners could have gotten the one where, oh, you don't get eliminated and you can get this hidden reward. That was such a crazy advantage compared to the prison one, which is like 10 pieces and you're instantly a target.
Yeah. I was confused when they were playing those games in episode two, and I was like, oh, is everyone gonna have a chance to keep playing these games? And it was just like a one and done, and it was so early in the whole season.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons why I loved season one was about the metagame. That realization that they could use the pieces to unlock something. That was so mind blowing to me that they're like, oh man, these pieces, they're different. Why are they different? Oh, they fit together this way and it unlocks this. I'm like, that's crazy. And I think that's why I love Devil's Plan season one so much. But then season two, the contestants were like, oh, let's look at these pieces. Oh, there's a metagame here in the living room. Oh, there's a metagame in the prison. They just found it instantly.
Yeah, I also felt in season one with the metagame, it really helped the underdogs like come back up and end up winning at the end of the season. Versus in season two, it just like basically reinforced the existing classes within the game.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's why it wasn't really as interesting to watch for me. There was a point during Doubt and Bet where it was Seven High, Eun-Yoo, Hyunju, Hyungyu, and Sohee. I was like, okay, the prison squad finally has the numbers advantage where they can win against the oppressor, Hyungju. And I was rooting for them so hard. And then when Eun-Yoo was eliminated, I was like, I hate this. And then I just started fast forwarding. I was like, I don't care at this point because it's pretty obvious who's gonna win. It's gonna
Yeah.
be Hyungyu and Sohee at the end.
I thought it was crazy in that whole game, every time they redrew their order, that Hyunggu and Sohee still ended up right next to each other.
Yeah, what? That's so like stupid luck, but also is so irritating because in my mind, Hyungki was absolutely the villain. I just really hated the way that he interacted with Hyunjun,
Mm.
especially in I can't remember what it was.
Balance
The man,
Mancala.
yeah, Balance Mancala when he was like, "Oh, can you not do simple arithmetic?" I was like, "Back up, dude."
Yeah. So, okay, here's some Reddit tea about the Balance Mancala episode. Apparently, Kyuhun and Sohui did know about the advantage before the game. So I think that's why they were like, okay, we're not going to play with you. You're going to be fine. So we don't need to play with you in this one game. And then later, yeah, they like rejoin him.
Why would they rejoin him? Then that makes even less sense that they would rejoin him because he was basically like, "Ah, I'm so lonely."
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, okay, we'll join you, even though we know that you have 10 pieces in your back pocket. That makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it really wasn't in the spirit of Devil's Plan.
So
Yeah.
annoying. I wish that they would play the games individually, honestly. I think the alliances just broke a lot of the games.
But I feel like the players are so good at figuring out strategy that it's hard to like not figure out an alliance strategy.
Yeah. I mean, I think one game that was really good was Monsters, where you can form an alliance, but then whatever things that you earn, it's divided by how many people are in your alliance. I wish they had done that for basically all of the games because there were at least two games where the Living Room Alliance was way greater, it felt, than the Prison Alliance. Because even the Prison Alliance was constantly divided
Yeah.
than the Living Room Alliance. So it just felt one-sided all the time.
I also wonder if they gave the players too much time to strategize before the game started. Like maybe if they had cut that time a little bit, there wouldn't have been so much like, oh, how do we metagame this game right now?
Yeah, I wish that in season three that they fixed that because Hugh Hyun, for example, there is no reason that he should have gotten so many pieces. Like he was not a strategic player at all. He kind of just did whatever other people told him to. It was really only a matter of luck that he was a corrupt cop in the beginning, and then that's how we just became part of the Living Room Alliance. But
Yeah,
he
I
never like did anything.
I felt like he didn't really add anything. It didn't really seem like he was like a good player. Like he was kind of just there, which
Exactly.
like maybe he's really good at the social game, as we might say. But yeah,
Maybe.
I do think Hyunggu and Sohui were like the most competent players, like at the actual games themselves.
I would agree with that. I think there were a couple of people, but I mean, I agree. I think Sohui and Hyungyu were definitely good at the game. I think Hyungyu was definitely the devil, to be honest, which is what the game needed. It just sucked that there was such a strong alliance and emotional bond between Sohui and Hyungyu that we just didn't get a good game at the end.
Yeah, that part was really disappointing.
Yeah.
And even when Sohui picked Kyuhyun, like to help her practice the like tiger versus sheep game, I was like, Lee Se-dol, she's gonna pick him.
Yeah, literally no one picked Lee Se-dol. I was like, You have a literal Go player who's waiting in the wings. Why would you not pick him?
Crazy.
Because of the freaking alliances. Well, okay, we know who our villain is, our least favorite character.
So I think Hyung-Goo is villain number one, and then I actually put Kyuhyun as villain number two.
Spicy, why?
Like we were saying, I think he kind of just held on and didn't really contribute much. And then honestly, I felt he was kind of spineless the whole game.
Yeah, I totally agree. I also didn't really like Tino either for that reason.
Hmm.
I felt like Tino, he's the type of guy that was like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. And then when that changes and it puts you in a disadvantage, he's like, so sorry, guys.
Yeah.
The hands were tied. Like,
Suck.
it's coming from up there. It's coming from it's not me. It's coming,
Yeah.
like, take accountability, dude.
Truly. Like, okay, so before the Monsters game, the living room group, they were like, oh, we don't want this class divide. We should try and mix up the alliances a little bit more. But basically, only Seven High played outside of the alliance and then ended up being in the prison group.
Yeah, he got punished for playing the game the way that it was meant to be played, which I did not like.
Yeah. Okay. One more gripe before we talk about people we love, which is that I felt the games this season too, there was just too much betting involved. Like,
Mm,
there are too many poker variant games.
but there was a lot of betting, which is like even all the more reason, like, why didn't Seven High succeed? Because he was so good at betting. It's about the system. The system is getting us down, man.
So, okay, one thing I want to say about Seven High is I felt like his eyes were so aggressive, like during the game.
Yeah,
And
some
like,
crazy eyes.
yeah, and then I felt kind of bad when Sohwi and Hyunggu were saying that they were scared of him, like in the final episode. But then I was also like, I too would be kind of scared of him.
Yeah, I would be scared of him too until that moment in the prison match where he was like massaging his neck. I was like, oh shit. Like he kind of hot though.
That would get you, Ruchi.
Yeah.
Neck massaging.
Yeah, he was so focused. Even Eun-Yoo commented on him too. She was like, "Oh shit."
I think he's a good looking guy for sure.
Yeah. I think he grew on me the most actually. He was definitely the person I was like, "Oh, I hate this guy" at the beginning. But then
Mm,
by the end I was like, it feels like he's the only one who's really playing in the spirit of the game and everyone else is like just like daintily solving puzzles or, just sticking with their same buds for like no reason.
that's true. I loved his final move where he was like, I know I can't win, I know I can't stay in, but let me just try to shake things up as much as I can. So I'm going to give all my chips to Sohui so that
Mm.
she can win. Oh, and then it was so frustrating when she started crying and then was thinking about whether she should accept or not. And it's like, girl.
I don't know what that was at all. I'm like, what game are you playing here? Because I don't think it's Devil's Plan. I think it's Korea's Sweetheart, the game.
Part of me wondered, okay, I feel like this is also kind of where American game shows deviate from Korean game shows, where there was no question of romance in the Korean game show, but part of me was wondering, like, are they dating? Like, is that why she's
Oh.
so loyal to him? But I also saw on the internet, so Kyunggu had been on another reality TV show before this,
Mhm.
and then he was dating someone from that show, apparently. I don't know if they were still together by the time Devil's Plan aired and stuff.
That's spicy. Do you think he and Sohui are?
I don't know, She's only 4 or 5 years older than him, which I feel like, you know,
Divided by 2 plus 7.
yeah. Yeah. It would be a hot and smart couple.
Their kid would probably win Devil's Plan.
Yo, for sure. I also really like the relationship between Justin and Ji-young. I was like, oh,
Oh.
it would be so cute if they got together.
Wait, I loved at the end when they all came back in the last episode. They were like, "Wait, Justin's like really famous." It's like, dang, get roasted, Justin.
Yeah. I had to look up because they kept mentioning that he was on in Beef, and then I was like, wait, who is he in Beef again? He's the church guy, Steven Yeun's like ex-girlfriend's new husband. That's Justin Min's character.
Oh, I
But
thought he was the younger brother.
no, he's the
Oh,
one who's like when he's like singing in the church that Steven Yeun like starts crying.
yeah. Wow. Okay. I remember when I was first looking him up, I was like, "Oh, he was in Umbrella Academy and he was in like this other stuff." But I didn't clock that he was in Beef. And then they said it in the show and I was like, "What?"
Listen. After watching Devil's Plan, I was in a bit of like a Justin Min kick. And so I watched a movie that he had recently been in called Shortcomings, and it's actually set in Berkeley.
Oh, nice. What's the premise?
Okay, he plays a really unlikable and irredeemable character, but basically he plays an aspiring film director. His girlfriend's also a film director. She takes an internship at some like art group in New York, and then they have a break. But yeah, he's like a real asshole in that movie. And really
Oh.
sucks.
Mm.
The acting's great, but the character sucks.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What a great actor. What did you think of Justin Min in Devil's Plan?
He lasted way longer than I thought he would. And honestly, I low key thought he would be kind of a dummy when he first came on the show.
Me too. Me too.
I think because he walked in with kind of this like Hollywood vibe. He seemed like
Yeah.
he actually, well, I don't think he was like super great at the games, but he wasn't terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think when he first came in, I think his first prison match, I was like, this guy is not gonna last. Cornell, give me a break. But then I think he played really well. And I actually did feel bad for him when he suggested the alliance to get Park Sang-yeon out. And then Eun-Yi was like, yeah, let me think about it. And then the other two invited her to the alliance and not Lee Sedol or Justin. And Justin's like, what the heck, you guys? Like, I was literally the person who came up with this, and now you guys are having an alliance and leaving us out. That makes no sense. So I felt for him in that moment too.
Yeah, the Korean netizen commentary about that moment when he was just like, you guys, this is so fucked up that you did this to me. And how Korean citizens were like, oh my gosh, that's so brave of him for him to like stand up to these bullies. And it's so true that Koreans don't really include Korean Americans and stuff. So, yeah, all came out in that one episode.
Well, what was the why did they not include Lee Sedol? He's Korean.
That's true. I feel like the two of them were just kind of outsiders, like the whole game, you know?
I did like how they kind of teamed up for the monster game, but then I felt bad when they were like, "Oh, breakthrough! Looks like you can crush Lee Sedol because he's in 11th place or something, or 11th in the order."
That was so sad.
Yeah.
They dole. I did see on Hyunjun's Instagram that it seemed like he and Lee Sedol are like, doing something together, maybe?
Thing together.
I don't know if it was like filming a YouTube video or something. There were just like some pictures of them posing together in a fashion shoot. So,
A fashion shoot?
yeah.
Wait, Lee Sedol?
Yeah, Lee Sedol. It was so cute. Also,
Wow.
Hyunjun has a Notion on his Instagram page, and then the Notion is a math blog, and it's his musings on his favorite like professors and like mathematicians and like ways to think about math. It was so cute. One of his
Aw.
favorites is Richard Feynman, classic.
Classic.
Also, Lee Sedol, fun fact, is that he is now a visiting professor at a university in Korea and is working on how to harmonize with AI.
Oh, yeah. I think his match with Google DeepMind with AlphaGo really put a pivot in his career.
Yeah, like it ended his career and go.
Yeah, he retired. Yeah, he like retired soon after, right?
Well, yeah, he said apparently that after his match with AlphaGo that he just didn't have any more joy in playing Go anymore.
That's so sad.
Oh,
My God.
AI ruining everything.
AI be like, this is a solved problem.
Okay. Also, okay, so I did try to do a night's tour. I tried it maybe 6 times
A
of
five by
an
five?
of an 8x8, and I
An
was
eight
like,
by eight? Oh my gosh.
and I was like, okay, I'm not just like falling into the solution. So I guess it is difficult.
I tried a five by five and I did not fall into the solution
Oh.
either. Okay, I have two questions. Who was your favorite contestant? And then what was your favorite game?
Oh, okay. My favorite contestant was Eun-Yoo,
Eun-Yoo,
which
the M&A lawyer.
the M&A lawyer. And I mean, one, I think she was just a good player. I whole like alliance with Justin backstabbing aside. In general, I think she was quite competent. And then I also just love that she chose to keep wearing the prison outfit all the time. I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think she was my favorite. I think also Ji-young was my favorite. I liked her from the beginning, but then when she was a part of the Living Room Alliance, I was like, I don't know if I can like her. So I stuck with Eun-Yoo, but then once Ji-young went to the Prison Alliance, I was like, okay, I can like her again.
Yeah. My favorite alliance was the Seven High Eun-Yoo Jiyoung
Yeah,
alliance. Like that was really cute.
same. They had a lot of really good chemistry, I felt.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they were really funny. I loved Prison Queen Eun-Yoo. She was like, I change my clothes, you guys. I change my clothes every day, just so you know. I also shower, just so you know.
Oh my gosh, she's so funny. And then I think it was in her last like prison match when she put her hair up, and then Hyunjin was like, "Oh my gosh, she's so pretty."
Yeah, I was like, ship? Is this a ship? Yeah,
I'm
they were great.
curious if she will go on to do more influencing after this, or if she's just gonna go back to her corporate M&A job. Imagine if you're the other attorney in a corporate M&A and they see Eun-Yoo across the table from you.
I would be like, oh dang, I'm on the wrong side.
Yeah. Oh shit, she's gonna fuck me up.
I'm on the M side, but I should be on the A side. That's how M&As work, right?
Yes, as someone who has an MBA, I can confirm.
Nice. What was your favorite game?
The dice game
Oh, with the colored
with
block
the
that
colored blocks.
Unknown, I think was the name, because you had to figure out the rules.
Yes, yeah. I think because my spatial reasoning is good. So I like games where you have to have like a spatial awareness of things. And then I also like the hidden rules.
Mm. I think that was probably the game that I would do the best in, but I think my favorite game was the monster game. Yeah, because I think there was so much that was left up to chance, and there was so much mystery that you couldn't really strategize. It was like I felt like it was 80-20 luck strategy, which I think is a good mix of luck and strategy, especially for the way that the games were being played out.
That's true. That's fair. My second favorite game was the one with the different like metal.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
yeah, I was really disappointed in them because I felt like if the only thing that he is saying is that the red dots have to touch, you gotta get creative. You can't just do like like in a straight line.
I felt like that game really was not the prison team's game because all four of them were just so bad at that game and made so many bad assumptions.
Yeah, it was not good. I mean, I think they eventually figured it out and kind of thought outside the box a little bit, but I think it did show So he figured out some stuff, right? And I think Tino also figured out some stuff
I feel
in
like
that
it was
game. I can't
mostly
remember.
Sohui.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's why Sohui, you can't gotta bring
Yeah.
grit. Come on, you gotta be aggressive.
I felt like there were so many great women players on the show, and so I'm just kind of sad that none of them won.
Totally agree. I think that's what was very irritating to me for this season to watch. Like to just watch someone with extreme intelligence and competence, probably even more intelligence than the person that she was facing, just give up, basically. It was very irritating to watch.
She almost could have won that first game and those three series of games if she had just changed her last bet. Like,
I didn't understand why she didn't go all in. I was like, there's a very clear point where you go all in the first game, and then she just didn't. Well, will you be watching season 3 of Devil's Plan?
I will. I'm okay. This is okay. Maybe a few predictions. I think the cast will be more diverse. So either perhaps more Korean Americans or um, I don't know,
Like international?
foreigners. Yeah, like
Yeah,
internationals who speak Korean well. And
yeah.
I wonder, do you remember Singles Inferno in the third season? There was that girl from Harvard.
Hmm.
They should have her on the show.
You're so right. Do you think she would last?
She would. I just don't know if her Korean is good enough, but maybe it's
Mm,
gotten better.
I feel like Justin was speaking in English half the time, so it's probably fine.
Hyunjun's English is so good.
He was in an English immersion school, right? So they speak in English at school, basically.
Yeah, I think at Keist, it's all English. So
Oh,
technically, you would think Sohui would also have amazing English, but we never heard her speak.
because she was too busy being with the Living Room Alliance.
You know, I think in the first season, they had more games that required you to know English. But in season two, like English wasn't part of the games at all.
I barely remember season 1, to be honest. I
Yeah.
think I only remember like the tessellation thing.
That part was so cool.
Yeah, I'll probably still watch season 3, but I want them to mix it up a little bit more so that there's a lot more balance and there's a lot more dynamism.
Yeah. Hmm.
The placing changes a lot more. I want to see more of that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, one thing that I found out, I was reading this article. It was from Korea Herald. One thing that was different from season 1 is that instead of relying solely on the production team, the new season brought in teams from the applicant pool to help develop the games themselves.
Interesting.
Yeah. So maybe that's why the games that the people developed from the outside were easily broken, I guess, by alliances and like group strategy.
Mm. Yeah, the last main match game just really seemed like it wasn't well tested. The color poker one? Yeah.
Well, that was broken because they just got lucky just being next to each other the whole time.
But I think they should have changed the format so that you had to switch positions more often, every 5 rounds or something.
Maybe because they were just like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill the bet. 20
Right.
reds."
Right. Oh, let's just switch chips between you and me.
I wish that they didn't really do the alliance stuff, but I also know why they do the alliance stuff. It's because it's more dramatic when someone betrays you. But maybe the way that they do the placement, like instead of doing, depending on the number of pieces, that's who goes to the living room versus prison. It's like, oh, depending on how well you did in the main match, or some other way of doing the rankings more individually.
I totally agree with that. I think they should have maybe like Lee Sedol and Orbit test their games for them for season 3.
I need to rewatch season 1 because I really don't remember. I just remember being surprised at who won, but I liked being surprised at who won. I think this was just like, all right, he's gonna
Yeah.
win. Oh, he's gonna win. Oh, he's gonna win. Oh, he won.
If you and I were in Devil's Plan, who do you think would do better? And you know, we don't know each other. Obviously, we'd form an alliance and we'd make it to the end that way, but we're just strangers.
I think if you were in Devil's Plan, you would be Harin.
I wouldn't say this, but I feel like I would be more like Eun-Yoo. That's what I feel.
I was gonna say I would be more like you.
I think we both just want to be Eun-Yoo.
I was gonna say I think it really depends on what our first game was. So if our first game we were playing some like mafia type game and I was on Team Evil with like 3 or 4 other people, I would just play that way for the rest of the season.
You would just be like, I'm the villain, 100%. I'm in it to win it.
I think I would just form an alliance with my other evil people and just play that way for the whole game, which is exactly what happened in season 2, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what would happen. So it depends. I would be extremely loyal to my alliance. Yeah, but if I were a townsperson, then I would be a little bit more fluid with my alliances, but I wouldn't be so loyal, I feel. I don't know who was kind of playing like that.
7?
I don't think I'm gutsy enough to be 7 high. I'm too risk averse.
Well, I feel like that's probably what years of being a good poker player is.
Maybe we both be Justin Min.
Honestly, probably.
Our only claim to fame would be Caltech.
Or probably, oh, you know, I'd probably be Sang-yeon, who was a little too aggressive and then got eliminated quickly.
But I don't think you would be put in that position where you would be at the bottom of the pack in your alliance, and then your alliance pushes you to take the fall and be in the prison.
I feel like I'm good at being in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd be the Miss Korea contestant, just get eliminated night 1, because I thought it would be Knight's tour.
I was very impressed by her, actually. I was like, wow, she solved this puzzle. But then she just totally panicked in the well when the water started coming down.
When it said, like, here is the hint, find the key, I was like, I think I would just put KEY yellow and then be like, now what?
Where's the key?
Give me the key.
Do you think because Lee Sedol really wanted to do the prison match, so do you think if he had been in the well, he would have been able to escape?
I have to believe in him. I'm going to say yeah.
You think so? I don't think he would, actually.
Really?
I just feel like it takes like a level of abstract thinking, you know, to be like, oh, match them to the letter and
Yeah, I guess. Maybe. I think he's really good at thinking under pressure, though. And I think that's what you needed in the well. Because it was a pretty simple puzzle, right? It was just like, okay, this thing is in English. Like, as soon as I saw the elephant, I was like, oh, E is for elephant. It's probably like matching the letters to like the symbols. Like, why else would there be like a xylophone symbol, you know?
yeah, that's true.
But I think he would have been able to do it.
What did you think the prison game was when you saw Miss Korea's exit interview and she was like all wet?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I thought that when she was crawling through that pipe, maybe that's why she got super wet. I think I just assumed that it was Knight's tour and that it was just a level harder than what she thought. And then that's how she got eliminated. Because we found that out in when Hyung-Gyu was doing the hidden game, right? He practiced 6x6 and 7x7, but he didn't practice 8x8. And then the hidden game was 6, 7, and 8. So that's what I thought was in the prison, except you were also wet.
I liked how he was using blotting papers to try
Yeah.
to map it out for himself. And I was like, how are you seeing this? It's so hard for me to see these little papers.
And then, like, how do you know what number you've put the paper in what order? That's so difficult. Also, all the papers were like blowing everywhere. That would stress me out.
So true.
Glad that he could do it, that he just found out that pattern. That
Yeah.
was really impressive.
Yeah. And didn't make a mistake at any point leading up to it. It was like, oh, I need to stop and then like map it out for myself now.
That was so impressive. And then once he saw the pattern, okay, he's done. I was like, okay, that's pretty good. So I feel like Hyung-Yoo definitely deserved it. I'm just upset that Sohwi gave it to him, you know?
Yeah. When he first introduced himself on the show and he was a physical education major, like he is a physical education major at one of the top universities in Korea, but I was like, this guy?
I didn't know that he was a PE major.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, he's also like an influencer and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. Oh, and then when Sang-young was like, I won the physics Olympiad, I was like, oh, fuck. Holy shit. This guy is so smart. Like, winning the physics Olympiad, like, that's so difficult.
did you ever do math and physics Olympiad when you were in high school?
I didn't even get there. I did like AMC 12, and then I was like, I suck at this.
Yeah, that's the same thing that happened to me. It was like AMC, AM, AIME, IMO, then Olympiad, something like that. Anyway, there were 3 levels.
Oh my God, those tests gave me a headache. Like, like thinking through them so hard. Like, how do I solve this math puzzle?
Listeners, if you're curious about what the physics Olympiad is, just go online and look at the practice tests. You'll be like, close laptop.
Also, I did find it really funny when Hyunjun was like, as mathematicians, we don't deal with numbers. Like, we're just good with logic. And I was like, that's right.
So true. But in spite of that, he did do very well.
He did.
I think that was the match that I think I would have done the worst in. I'm so bad at that.
I had so much trouble. I would like pause it and then I'd try to like come up with a few and then I would only get one and then I'd be like, okay, all right, let's just watch.
That's exactly what I did. I would pause it, I would find exactly one, and I'd be like, okay, great, play.
I think the part that kept confusing me was the order of operations and I kept just doing it linearly when you need to actually follow the right order of operations.
Did you ever play that game 24? I think it's a really similar premise, but your target is always 24 and you just get a set of numbers and you just have to like given a set of numbers, make 24.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, but you can pick the operators?
Yeah, you can pick the operators. It's just like here's a set of numbers, make 24 as fast as you can. I think it's like you look at in the real world, you like look at like signs that have numbers on them and then you try to create 24. It could be like a road game too.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe I'm explaining this wrong, but I never liked that game. And all of my math nerd friends loved it.
Actually, so preparing for the GMAT, which is the test for MBA programs, I actually had to really practice my mental math because there's a long like math section and it's just easier. Like you could get through the questions faster if you're able to do the mental math. But that all the skills are gone now.
Sometimes I look back on math tests or anything that I did in high school and I'm like, who was this person? Because I don't know her. My pronouns are she, but not her, because I'll never be her.
To be fair to ourselves, we are able to solve more complex and abstract problems now than I'm sure we could have in high school.
That's a fair point. Yeah. We can deal with ambiguity a lot more now.
Yeah, systems.
True. Everything's a system. Should we do ratings?
Yeah.
What would you rate this show?
For all of its problems, I still really enjoyed it and I definitely binged it. So I would give this a 7.5.
Ooh, okay. I would give it a 6.5. I also was really, really excited. I think I started the season at an 8, maybe 8.5. And then by the end, I was like, oh my God, get this over with. So I'm going to land at a 6.5.
Yeah, it started off really good, but then it went downhill.
Well, Hopefully they fix the problems that we've outlined in this episode.
Devil's Plan producers, you better be listening to this podcast.
Tag them. Tag them. Make sure they read the Reddit too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's do binge in progress. What are you watching, Jing?
I'm sticking with Korean for now. So I'm watching this K-drama on Hulu called Nine Puzzles. And it's like a detective crime drama about a serial killer. And so the main character, the actress, she was in Itaewon Class. Anyway, yeah, I just recognized her from there. She's a great actress. I like her face a lot. But she plays the niece of a victim, and then the lead detective in that case thinks that she's the killer, and she receives a puzzle piece. And then, like 10 years later, there's another murder, and she receives a second puzzle piece.
A piece?
Yeah. So anytime there's a murder, the serial killer sends her another puzzle piece, like where she is. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it?
I'm enjoying it. They're kind of doing a thing where they're batch releasing the episodes, so the next batch comes out on Wednesday night. If you like detective crime dramas, it's pretty good. It kind of reminds me of Sherlock sometimes. She's a little like on the spectrum. She has an amazing memory. She's, definitely offensive to people. So she's very like quirky, like autistic quirky, I guess.
I love those types of characters.
Yeah.
I think we also talked about Extraordinary Attorney Woo.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay,
Similar
yeah,
vibe.
I think I'll give it a shot. And maybe we'll do another episode about it.
I'm your Korean stan.
Now say it in Korean.
I've already offended too many Korean people.
Okay, well, thanks for yapping with us.
Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for yapping with us. If you loved this episode, have some hot takes we missed, or if you've got a show you're dying for us to binge next, follow us on socials. We're at Binge Yap Repeat.
Until next time, happy binging.